Today we're going to be making a Halloween directional sign that's 12 feet tall. Now this sign is illuminated with glow-in-the-dark phosphorescent paint, and it's carved on foam that's made to look exact. So for our Halloween sign, we're going to need to get insulation foam board. I'm using 1 inch thick. You can go bigger, but these boards can get pricey, so 1 inch was more than enough for what we're doing. You're going to get your utility blade and start cutting it into slats. This is how I did it. Pieces, use your utility blade, run it down, and then break them off. You can make them any size, but for today, we're going to be making them this size, this measurement, and we're going to do about 5 or 6 of them to get our Halloween sign going. Okay, so let's continue cutting the slats. I'm just getting my utility blade and I'm just cutting like pieces that I think would look like a slat of wood. We go all the way down and that's it. And we've got another piece. Now this one's a bit long, so I'll probably just cut it to make it shorter. And there we go. Look at this. Okay, so now that we have our pieces cut in a rough type of way, we need to start fixing the corners because some of the corners are very square. So I'm going to use my drywall blade that I have here, this knife, and I'm going to start making cuts like this. What you're trying to do is make it look like it was ripped. So this one will go like this. And see, then you start getting this kind of broken off, ripped type of plank of wood that's going to be used for a sign. And in order to get this type of look, I'm cutting in a style of V-cuts. So you see it like this, and we need to do just these type of V-cuts all along the sides that we want it to have that effect. And just like that, you have this type of jagged look. Then, on the corners, on maybe the flat surfaces, you want to take some out with your blade. Just run it like that. Just gives it a more aged, authentic look. Just like that. So it's looking much better. And then we continue moving on to the other ones. So remember, you just want to play around with it, give it different shapes. I have this cool shape over here. I'm not going to touch this side to give it more of a wood look. And I'll probably just rough it up a little bit, making sure that you're careful. You don't want to cut yourself. So you just want to rough it up just a little bit like that. There we go. And as you can see, I'm just going in random places to give it more of a rough texture. Being very careful with this drywall knife. And then we have this just like that. And then you go on to the next pieces. So to quickly show you how I get the font that I need, I'm right here in Microsoft Word. I go up here to Layout, I go to Orientation, and then I pick Landscape. That'll let the word stretch this way. Then go back to Home, and when you're at your font, it only goes up to 72 from the drop down. Right here, it only goes up to 72, but that's way too small. So if you just highlight that, you can put whatever font you want. Normally I use 200. And bam, you get it bigger. but since this is a small word, I'm going to probably use 260, and bam, it's ready to get printed. Here we have our next piece, and we're just going to glue it on. I've cut out Raccoon City. It's going to be just like that. Perfect. We're going to apply glue and let it dry for a couple of hours. Okay, so we have to remember that in order to carve everything out, we need to print out what we want. I picked Halloween Town for this. I'm using font 200 with Microsoft Word, printed it in 3 different sheets, and then glued them to this board. After several hours, I would say 3 hours, overnight is best, but hey, 3 hours, wait until it's solid and dry. Then you get your Dremel tool and we can begin carving everything out. This shouldn't be difficult. It should be really easy. Just look at the bio in the description below to see which Dremel tool I'm using, and we can begin carving. So when it comes to carving, look what I'm using. I'm using a Dremel tool with an attachment. I'm going to link this one in the description below as well. But if you can see, we're not out a lot, just a little bit. You can adjust this to give it the depth that you want, but we're just doing just a little bit. Another tip, the bigger the letters, the easier it is to carve. So the smaller you go, this tip would be too big and you need something smaller. So the kit that I bought comes with tips ranging in all sizes, and this is on the bigger end right here, but they make smaller ones and it gets kind of difficult when you have small words. Once you're done carving it, it should look just like this. So now, we just need to take off the paper. So we rip this off. It's not all going to come out, but we don't have to worry about that. You just take it off like this. Comes right off. And then anything that doesn't come off, we grab a soaking wet rag. There we go, like this. And just like that. So once you're done carving, it should look like this. Remember, use a soaking wet rag, run it all over it. It'll take the paper and the glue right off. So at the beginning of this video, I told you that we needed to give the corners some details. Now we have to give the actual board some details. And I didn't want to do the details before I carved because you want the paper to adhere to a very flat surface. So once you're done carving, we can do it. We're going to give details with the shaver comb that we have here and the wire brush. So I'm going to show you closer up how we're going to do this so it gives it a more authentic wood plank-like look to this, and then we'll get it ready for painting. Okay, so first we're going to start with the shaver. We're going to just rough up the edges in places that you want just to give it some character. You don't have to do it all over the place, but definitely want to run it along places. Get rid of sharp surface or areas. or just roughing up things. You see? Just like that. Then, this is the very important one. We're going to get our wire brush. And now we need to give this some wood grain to it. So you're going to grab your brush and you're going to press down and scrape. You're going to go over and scrape. Making sure that you go from right to left or left to right. You don't want to do up and down. That's not how wood grain goes. Do it like that. So I'm stopping right here so that you can see something. If we keep on going over the words, we risk breaking pieces. Like over here with the E, over here with the T. So you want to be really careful when you're going over the word. So I like to sidestep them like this. Just do it like that. Then you can come in the middle and do something a little bit lighter. And just like that. You just want to be careful that you don't go too hard in here because this might break and then, wow. Just like that. So if you want, see, just like that. If you want a not looking place, you can go kind of like that. See? Just like that. And this technique, I actually learned it from an awesome YouTuber called VanOaks Props. I'm going to link his YouTube in the bio below because he does amazing creations. So this is a really great tip. Then on the corners, you can do this. Look what kind of look it gives it. Really, really nice. Kind of like weathered, decaying wood. Like I said, be careful over the words. And then, just like that. Look at that. And see, it gives it that nice broken edge look. Which is perfect. Just like that. Look at this. Perfect. And I'll keep on going here with the wire brush a bit more, with the shaver as well, just until I get the look that I'm going for. And this is what we're going to do to all of the insulation foam board signs that we've made. So I just wanted to show you up close the details. Just like that. And then you want to clean it off once you're done, once you're satisfied. Make sure you get the sides as well. Over here. Just want to run the brush just like that. Give it some texture. And you can even do the back as well. I'm not going to do the back on mine. But if you wanted to, you can do it as well to give it that nice wood grain texture. So look at these details we did right here. This actually is going to look like it's really rotted. And this is all from the wire brush. Okay, now we're going to start painting our sign. I have two colors for the base coat. A beige color right here and a cedar light color right over here. We're going to be doing it in sections. So I'm going to get a little bit of the cedar, just like that. I'm going to go like this. Move this out of the way. Then I'm going to get some of the beige color with the same brush. I'm going to go like that. Just like that. More of this color right here. And more of this one right over here. Just like that, we did our first coat. But of course, as you can see, there's still a lot of spots that don't have paint. So then you can go back again. This is when you start filling them in. Now, there's no specific colors that I'm using. you just definitely want to play around with it. You could use a light brown and a beige. You could use some grays as well. You could use some whites to soften it, just to give you a light base coat before we apply the darker shade of brown. So before we begin painting it with the darker color, I just wanted to show you this cool grain effect right here. When I got the wire brush, I went like that, like a circular pattern to give these types of lines, and I didn't carve anything in the middle to give it that kind of knot on the wood effect. I think it looks pretty cool. So now what we need is some dark brown paint, any shade you want, just a darker brown than what we have. And we need this tool kit right here. It's called a wood graining set. This is what's going to give us more of the wood grain look. So this is what we need. And we're just going to be using the bigger piece. And we need a brush. So let's get started. What we're going to do is we're going to start painting the top of it with this darker brown. Just like that. You want to make sure you lay a nice thick coat on it. While you're painting, you want to make sure that you fill in any remaining spots, because we have deep grooves in this wood. You want to make sure that you apply the paint in any remaining uncolored spots. This is when we use our grain tool, is what I like to call it. So what we're going to do is we're going to rock it back and forth as we move it. This has grooves in it right there. So we want to rock this back and forth gently as we're going down. I'm going to hold this like this. I'm going to put it like this to start. And this, let's see if you can see it, creates, I don't know if you can see it in the camera, it creates a wood grain effect on top. And that's why you need a lighter base coat, so that the wood grain pops out even more. So I wanted to show really quickly, when it comes to the end of the board like this, you want to get a small little paintbrush, and you want to make sure you get the paint into these jagged, broken edges, because the regular paintbrush won't allow for it to get in there. So these are just the extra details you want to put in so that it actually looks one color and not with the green that's underneath. Now we need to make a pole for the signs. I have a 10-foot 2x4 that we're going to paint brown, and then I'm going to attach some wood to this and then attach the actual signs to that wood. I'll show you what I mean, but I want it to be really tall, and I also want it to have some type of skeleton or maybe a creature on top of it. Let's see what we do. So we're painting our 2x4, and we have these over here that are 1x3, and we're going to be using these on the back of the signs just to give them a little bit more stability. It tends to be windy here in October, and I just want them to not break. So as nightfall fast approaches here, I'm going to try to finish this before it gets too dark. But we've arranged the signs in the way that I want them installed, but you can do them in whatever way you like. I've also have these boards. These are 1x3s that I painted that is going to go right behind it to support it. They're going to be attached with Velcro. So this is going to be attached to this with Velcro, and then this one is going to be attached to the wood beam with a screw. So we're going to make sure that we pre-drill so that we don't split the wood. I have 1 1/4 inch exterior screws and my drill. So we can start with this and let's see how it goes. Okay, so now I have a roll of Velcro and I have this Gorilla Glue. We're gonna put the Gorilla Glue on the wood, then attach the Velcro on this so that this can be Velcroed to that, just like that. It'll just give it extra support. So we're gonna do like, just do the amount of Velcro that you want. I'm doing mine almost the length of the wood piece. And this wood piece is smaller than the actual sign, so you don't see it from the front. Even though this has adhesive in the back, I want to add some extra one because oftentimes it doesn't really stick that well to wood. So we're just going to reinforce it. Oops. What we're going to do is we're going to actually attach it to, oh, let me take away this piece. So we're actually going to attach it to the other part of the Velcro. The sticky side is up now, and the part that attaches to the Velcro is down. So we're just going to put it just like that so that they can lock. And then we're going to get our glue and put some glue right on top, just a little bit, just like that. Then we get our sign, and you make sure you put it how you want it. So it'll be like this. And then while it dries, I'm just applying some weight on it with some things I found here. I just laid some wood on top of it. And I'm gonna keep it weighed down like that overnight. And then in the morning, it should be good to go. All right, so for the final piece, I am putting a skeletal creature all the way at the top. Now this bad boy is a corpse skeleton from Home Depot. They made two styles this year in this size, the regular kind of washed out white bones, and then this one, that's like a rotted type of skeleton. I absolutely love it with the screaming face like this. So we're gonna put this right there. I put a piece of wood right here just to hold it when it goes into the chest cavity. So I'm gonna lift it like that. Push that in there like this. And then we're pushing it right into the chest cavity. This would have worked also with a regular skeleton like this. And just like that, I'm going to put a screw just to attach it. It's not going to go anywhere, but just a screw through the chest cavity into the wood to hold it in place. And then we're going to pose the arms, and we're going to put it into a base of cement. Now, it gets windy and rainy sometimes here in October, so I need to make sure that this is really secured into the ground. So I'm definitely going to use a cement base. You could choose to put it inside of a 5-gallon bucket and then fill that up with cement, but you want to make sure that it is steady and it does not topple over, because then you would break all the hard work you did. So let's go put it into the ground.